Everybody. I wanted to do a video explaining when I got back into Fortnite and what it's done for me and how it's been a year since I did it. This video I'm recording a couple days after the year I came back to Fortnite, but it's interesting how I got back into it. My one of my nephews, he turned 20 and it was the next day, it was Memorial Day in 2024. And the day before, on his birthday, he was like, "Do you play Fortnite?" Not just him, but um, his little brother, uh, who was 9 years old. He told me they were like, "Hey, like you play Fortnite?" I was like, "I don't. I actually haven't played Fortnite at that time in like 5, 6 years, like when it first came out on console." And they were like, "Dude, you should get into it." And I was like, "All right, you know what? I'll put you up to that." And what's been amazing over these last, I don't know, 53 weeks since jumping back onto Fortnite, because we're now at the end of May of 2025. It's been a little bit over a year. Is this game has helped me with a lot of things in my life. It's helped me regenerate focus in certain things. It's helped me get into a groove of life. It's so weird. So like before this, like I used to go to baseball games, like Major League Baseball games for the Mariners and all that stuff, and like that was my form of hobbies. I was trying to find a new hobby to get into, something new to, help center my life, etc. And one of the things that Fortnite has done is I still remember when I first got back into it. It was Chapter 5, Season 3, Wrecked, and I started playing it. And it, to me, from what Fortnite was before that, which for those that know, when it first started, it was completely slow. When it, when we got back into it, I got back into it. Fortnite was way slower than what it is now. And when I played Wrecked, I was like, this is so chaotic. This is so great. This is so yada yada yada. That it's fun. And I'm like, it's not quite hitting something for me, but it's still super fun. And then I remember a couple days later, them at the time, I thought it was new, but it was just a re-release, like most of the things they do. They re-released the Eminem skins, the Rap Boys skins. And I remember telling my nephew, my 9-year-old nephew, I remember telling him, I was like, dude, this is elite. Like, I really like this. Like, I really like playing this game. And I want to play it more. And I want to learn how to play. And I want to get better, etc. And I'm kind of hooked and all the things. And I got like super excited. I was fun. It was fun. It was all the things, right? Like anything that's new, you get excited about and you get into and you dive deep and you have all the things, all the excitements, the butterflies, the things. And I kind of thought, like most things for me, that tends to fade or that tends to change or that tends to, become elusive over time, right? And what has got me hooked about Fortnite the last year, going through so many life things in the last year, from basically Memorial Day of 2024 to Memorial Day of 2025, is the perspective. We're going deep into Fortnite like it's changed my life. No, it's one of those things where it's like it's kind of centered things for me. So like the game is simple, right? It's just battle royale between 100 people. Obviously, I've learned so many things about the game's culture and how the game has changed, and I've read up a lot of the history, the lore, the daily updates, the leaks. There's certain people I follow now. I've learned about the lying, like all of the fake the fake leakers, the fake rumor people. I've learned about um, I've learned about like really the history of the game. I've learned so much about the community. I've learned so much about the culture of Fortnite. I've learned about um, many of the elite streamers who've basically brought the game to where it is now, and kind of where Fortnite is in the grand scheme of things and the history of it. And really, for the last year, it's been one of my major solo standalone hobbies. And one of the biggest things I get, reacted towards, especially around my nephew or anytime he's around his friends, which is totally fine, or like anybody, is they're like, wow, I didn't know real adults played Fortnite. And I'm like, well, it's not necessarily that I play it, it's everything else surrounding it. And what I mean by that is every day I check my YouTube. I check to see if HypeX and um, Reina, I check them to see what the new like shop leaks are. They're minute long videos. They tell you what's up. They give you all the leaks and they tell you what's going on. I follow a guy named the Camping Rusher. He's from Canada. He's fantastic. He usually does 10-minute videos once every week. Maybe he does 2, 3 videos a week. Sometimes he does them daily. Like it depends on where the game is and where he's at and all the things. And he's fantastic. He updates me pretty much what they all updated me, and sometimes they all hear from different leakers. And so when they all hear from different leakers and they all kind of hear the same thing, you start to get a grip on, okay, this is what's happening, this is what's going on in the game, etc. And I really enjoy it because I'm not focusing in on other garbage. I'm someone who dives into politics and dives into sports stories and lore and narrative and all these things. And I feel like Fortnite is such a simple game, but the culture and the creativity around it and the marketing, I find it refreshing because they could easily, much like most of the world today, they could easily, and they kind of do in some regard, they could dive right into greed. They could be completely greedy. They could charge this game to be played all the time, but then there wouldn't be any culture. There wouldn't be any, connectivity to the youth. And one of the things that's gotten me hooked onto this game more than anything is the fact that I can connect with my nephew and my nephews. And as they get older, and um, as my other nephews and nieces get older, and my own kids get older, and I know the day will come where they're like, "Well, I want to play, or I want to play this all the time." I can explain to them so many things as to why and what Fortnite is in regards to the culture of where video games are today, or what it has done to video games, which I've watched a lot of those videos, and I've seen how a lot of it has impacted the way gaming is today and all the things. And what am I boiling it back to? When I started playing Fortnite a year ago, my only ideology is of what basically Fortnite was back in September of 2017. That was my only real understanding of what Fortnite was back then. Maybe early 2018. I think I played a little bit in 2020 because of COVID. When it was down, I had nothing to do, but it didn't strike my fancy then either. But then all of a sudden, since my nephews wanted to start playing and they wanted to play and their friends wanted to play and they thought it was cool that, somebody's uncle would play, for a little bit, whatever. And I just have, like, I've driven myself right into the understanding of playing the game. And I'm playing it to the degree in which, like, it's not just playing the game, it's the fact of, like, everything surrounding it. And I've never, outside of, like, Call of Duty, outside of, there's a couple others that I can't quite put my finger, World of Warcraft, which I would argue is probably obviously bigger than Fortnite. But what makes Fortnite to me so engaging and so incredible is the everything surrounding the game. It's not necessarily the game. The game itself, I'll be honest with you, very simple, nothing spectacular. What it's really turning into is it's turning into like a more beautifully crafted version of Roblox. Like if you watch all the creativity stuff and you see kind of how it's all playing itself out, it's all really just turning into a more creative version of Roblox, a more well drawn out version of that. And that's okay. But in this last year, what it's done is it's helped me kind of get like a stranglehold on like how I can communicate with my nephews and nieces and all of them in regards to if they ever get interested in this game, etc. And one of my favorite parts about it is it really does take me back to what I used to be like when I was, their age, etc. And one of my favorite things about this entire about this entire game and what it does is really it has a stranglehold on the culture of what kids and where they are today. And it is fascinating. It is powerful. It is amazing. You know, and being a part of it in a very, very slow and decisive manner is something that I honestly never thought that I would get invested into. But something about Chapter 5 Season 3, which again I'm watching videos now because that's one of the again, that's the most interesting part about Fortnite to me. Isn't just the game. It's the people and how they tell the stories. It's the people and the who have been a part of the culture for years and their different opinions and their different perspectives of where the game is, where the game is going, what the game has been, what the game's meant to them, what the everything, the who, why, when, where, what of everything Fortnite. And now, and what's really cool to me is now I'm going to be able to have something like that now in regards to when I started, right? I started a year ago. And now I'm seeing people do videos of what Fortnite was back during Chapter 5 Season 3. And the most amazing thing to me is because I felt this exact way that everybody is stating when it came out. And again, I was fresh to everything. I had such a newness to it all that I was just excited, and I wasn't good. And I'm not very good now. You're watching me play right now. But like I would watch that stuff and I would watch the game and I'd play the game, all the things. And I would sit there and be like, I don't know how people can hate this. Again, if you're used to the way Fortnite used to be, etc., I can totally understand. But what's amazing to me is the amount of vitriol that was going on in May and June of 2024 for Chapter 5 Season 3. I never understood it, and it never made any sense to me. Like, it never made sense to me why the community was so negative against Chapter 5 Season 3. Because me being new, me being everything, and all of my nephews, like, they all loved it. They all thought it was great. And I was in the same boat. I was like, I think this is so much fun. It's so chaotic. It's so crazy. It's so unique. The madness at Nitrodome. That's the thing I remember the most about Chapter 5 Season 3. And now I see videos of people who do YouTubes and the culture and stuff, and they're doing these retrospectives on a year ago and everything, and where Fortnite is and where it came from a year ago. And I feel like I can comment on that stuff because I literally that's when I got back into it and really got back into it. And what's amazing to me is the amount of people who said we really hated Chapter 5 Season 3 way too much. I agree. I think what made Chapter 5 Season 3 so great was that for people who hadn't been playing, or who did play and who weren't really into it, Like, I wasn't really that into Fortnite. In fact, I kind of had a little bit of a thing where I'm like, I don't really like Fortnite because it's too boring. It's too this. It's too methodical. People forget there was no movement in Fortnite back then. There was so minimal stuff. And when it came back, or when I came back to it, from the way I came back to it, I mostly just wanted to appease my nephews and be like, all right, I'll play a little bit with you whenever, and I'll go back to whatever I want to do. But then, like, I realized Fortnite's gotten so much faster. It's gotten so much more unique. It's themed. It's got characters. It's got collabs. It's got all this amazing stuff, and the culture surrounding it is so interesting and so thick with different narratives and different understandings and perspectives, and I watched these videos on chapter 5 season 3, and it just reminds me of when ultimately people were so upset at the way chapter 5 season 3 was handled. And I'm sitting there and I'm like, now people are looking back and saying that was such a great season. Not that it was amazing or perfect or anything, but that they're sitting there having that retrospective of, this season was so good. Why did, like, it was so much better than we, initially anticipated. Why were we so negative about it? And that was kind of my point. It's like, me being back to being new, I had very minimal perspective on Fortnite. And the reasons it got me back hooked were more than just because of the gameplay or because of the fact that cars were so powerful. It was because of how chaotic the gameplay was that I became really, not addicted, but I became really, really enthralled in wanting to play more. And now that I've been playing the game for over a year regularly, getting regular updates from leakers and following it the way I want to follow it, it really is an amazing, simple outlet in my life, my crazy, busy life. A year ago, we had just learned, a little over a year ago, early May of 2024, we learned that we were pregnant with our second child. My wife was pregnant. And we had gone through some other things, and with the way the world is financially and everything, we had some budgeting things we had to go through. And we ran into some financial issues, and we fixed them, and they're pretty much good to go now. And you go through life and all the things, and it gets complicated and all that. And we had our second child, our final child, and all these things in life, right? And with how chaotic everything is, Fortnite and the culture around it, not the game itself, but the culture around it, has intertwined itself more in my life in the last year than really kind of anything else that I've been associated with outside of my family. I mean, and that's where it kind of stems from. All of this stems back into my family, right? Because that's where I got back into the game and got hooked again, etc. And one of the best parts about playing is anytime I see my nephews, it's an immediate connection. It's like when I was a kid, baseball with my grandparents. Immediate connection. They knew exactly what we could connect on. Oh, did you see Sammy Sosa and Mark McGwire the other day? He says, look, so they hit number 51 tonight. You know what I mean? Like, instant connection. Same thing. Instant connection with Fortnite. Instant connection with whatever culturally iconic thing is going on at the time. We instantly connect on that because there's a respect factor, and also it's because the game is fun. It's simple. It's fun. It's what the kids are doing, right? And I've intertwined it in my life with the YouTube videos and the different perspectives and learnings and all the things. I am by no means a master at this game. I am not great. I barely play regular Battle Royale. I play Zero Build more often than not. I love Reload more than anything now. I mean, I'm not playing it right now because I couldn't find a server, but it's just one of those things. And I'm aware there's lots of bots now. I'm aware that it's not in a great spot in regards to player count, and I understand all of that. I'm not saying the game's dying. It is not dying. But with how it intertwines into my life and how I can pick it up, put it down, and go about doing things. It doesn't cost anything. If I want to spend money on something that I care about, which I'm sure if you've seen my videos on things, I have, and it's fun and it's worth it to me, you know? And and that's kind of the best part about it is if I want to spend a lot of money, I can if I want to, but I'm not going to because ultimately what the game provides for me is not needing to spend a whole lot of money to consume myself in. It's the fact that I can sit down, I can play for whether it's 10, whether it's 15, whether it's 3 hours like I have tonight, like. And the other thing is I'm still learning a whole bunch of stuff. Like I'm learning the fact that, how I can learn how to like find people and play with other people randomly across the world. Like I can set up my tags to see like who I can search for to play with, whether it's a creative game or not. Like there's so many different ways to go about playing the game that overall, like I'm learning more and more and more as I keep going around and how I can make myself entertained playing this game and taking the time to do it. And I don't know, I feel like when people go into Fortnite and they rip it for what it is, I feel like if they go into it very similarly to the way Chapter 5 Season 3 is, if people go into it and they go into it with an attitude of expecting and understanding the change or understanding the things that will change with the game that aren't going to keep it the same, I feel like, or like the same way of what their ideologies are, I feel like the game itself is going to be just great. It doesn't mean that it's perfect. It doesn't mean that it's going to be where it should be. It doesn't mean that, all the things we wish would happen should, right? But like if your life is chaotic and crazy and busy and all the things you've ever dreamed of in your life, I own a home. I have 2 kids. I have a great job. My life is phenomenal. Like my wife is unbelievable. All of these amazing things in my life that are happening, right? And my life is chaotic and like in good ways, not like bad. Like I don't drink anymore. Like I rarely if do I drink anymore. I'm 34 years old. Like I I'm busy at work. I'm busy at home. I have a lot of I have a lot of chores that I have to do. All the things, right? Take care of the outside during the summer. There's a lot of stuff that I have to do. But I can intertwine and make this my main goal every night to sit down and try and play Fortnite for a little bit just to get away from it all. And it's so simple. It's so fun. It's so easy in regards to just playing. Even if they took out bots and it was like 99 real people and I didn't do very well, it's just fun. It's just entertainment. And it's free entertainment. And it's fun entertainment. And what makes it great is not necessarily the game. It's everybody else's reactions about the game and how it changes over time. So as we're about to finish this game off, whether I win or lose, um, the last year has been phenomenal. See, there we go. But the last year has been phenomenal. And I wanted to say, like, as somebody who's now really been entrenched in a lot of the Fortnite narrative the last year, 1 year of the 7.5 years the game's been around, I just wanted to kind of give the reminder that ultimately this game is built to just be fun. It's built to provide something for you so that because Fortnite has changed so much of the gaming industry in regards to expectations, what ultimately it has done for me is it has kind of encapsulated really what I try to do every night, which is sit down at a minimum, try and play 15 minutes. And even in nights where I don't play, there's times where I don't play Fortnite for like 5-6 days. Sometimes I don't play for a couple weeks. But I'm always locked in on what new is coming or what new is changing or what new thing or leak is coming out so that I can stay on top of what's happening. And it's helped me really balance something in my life that I was lacking because other things were so greedy. Whereas Fortnite, yes, is going down the rabbit hole of starting to become more greedy, but it's at a point where ultimately, like, I can still sit and play the game, and ultimately I can sit and enjoy it when I play it, and I can see what's happening and I can see what's going on every single day, and I can keep up on it. And instead of focusing on the news, which is depressing and sad, and focusing on sports, which is changing all the time because of, you know, players retiring or the politics getting involved or because, you know, the game is changing or because of certain things, or and I used to be involved so heavily in the NBA, like with the media side of things and, you know, all that stuff. It it made it easier to it makes it easier to be involved and be invested in this game because it's one of those things where you don't have to be so divested into playing it all the time because it's ever evolving, right? It's ever changing. It's almost like comparing it to, and this is for the people who are my age, it's almost like comparing it to like a television show that you follow every Friday or every Thursday, right? It's kind of like watching a sporting event that you watch, you know, not, you know, 8, 9 months out of the year, 6 months out of the year. The only difference is with Fortnite, there's no breaks. It's every single day, and you can lock in on it from a news perspective and see what has changed, what hasn't. For the most part, things don't change that often every single day. There's major downtimes. There's major, you know, things that don't occur all the time. Not everything is big time. Not everything is happening. For the most part, anything that's new that comes up is generally due to a collab. And with the festival stuff and the battle royales and the different versions of battle royales, which is Reload OG and you know, the regular game, the regular battle royale, and then you got Lego, and then you got all these different ways in which they have the game set up. The best part is like there's so much variety and so much difference. Like I said, it's kind of like Roblox because my daughter and I have been playing Roblox since September of 2023. So we've been playing Roblox for almost 2 years, and trust me, we know Roblox culture. It's chaotic, it's crazy, and to be honest with you, it's so around across the board that like you can't ever keep up with it. And Roblox has been around for over 20 years now, or around almost 20 years now, I should say. And with that understanding, there's a knowledge of, well, it's everything's kind of infinite in Roblox. So trying to expect to hone in on one particular thing is absolutely impossible. Whereas if you're talking about, you know, hold on, I'm about to get owned here. Um, you can't keep up with Roblox culture or like Roblox like in stuff because there's so much. Whereas Fortnite is ever growing, and Fortnite's only in like year 7, year 8 of all of this. Whereas Roblox is now going into what, year 19, year 20, something like that. It's been around a long time, and so as Fortnite grows moving forward and gets bigger and bigger and more invested into what it's doing and creating, you can sit there and begin to see kind of the evolution of it and where it's going. And knowing that and seeing that and having done it for the last year, it's actually very easy to follow. And it's very easy to pick up on the trends, pick up on what their mindset is and their goals are through leakers, through narratives, through the community. And I feel like with every new perspective, every new story, every new different YouTube video, the people that I follow, the people that I find on like my For You page, or like people that I get recommended to follow or to see based upon the algorithms that I see, like it's so pleasant. And obviously like the Fortnite community has its flaws. Um, but at the same time, I feel like if you don't just divest into everything the community is saying, I feel like overall you're going to have an amazing time, and I have an amazing time. Like I really do. Like I can't tell you how often when I'm playing or when I'm like, you know, with friends or not with friends or um, with random people, um, playing in a random game or anything, literally anything, I can make it as enjoyable as I want to make it. And I think that's one of the biggest downfalls with the community is literally this game. You can make it as fun as you want it to be. You don't have to come at it the same perspective every time. Just because you played it one way 6 years ago doesn't mean it needs to stay that way. You know, like the game is changing all the time. The game is different all the time. It's never going to be the same game, right? And it shouldn't be that way. Like that's how it should be approached. And so I just wanted to say, as somebody who's been playing it for the last year and who's rambled on here now for the last 30 minutes, and if you've been following and just watching my terrible gameplay, my below average gameplay, thank you. Um, but as we sit here nearing the last week of Chapter 6 mini Season 1 with the Star Wars series, one of the things that I'm really thankful for is Fortnite really kind of giving me an outlet for not just quote unquote creativity, but like an opportunity to escape and be in this reality when I'll be honest with you, as my life has changed dramatically in the last year for a lot of good reasons. I mean, it's good stuff. It's not bad stuff. It's learning, it's growing, it's developing, it's changing, it's, you know, adding another person to our family. We had, like I said, my son was born almost 4 months ago, and knowing that my wife was pregnant around the time I picked up Fortnite again, and understanding that, understanding that, you know, that being able to pay for certain things or do certain things or just time wise or anything, all that's going to go out the window for a while. Not all the time, but for a while. And let me just spectate these guys. And Fortnite, what it does for somebody my age at 34, well, I have a job that I would consider you know, well established. Um, Again, my life is where it is, and I'm very happy. But I don't have a lot of hobbies. I don't have time to have hobbies. And this thing has given me that centered opportunity to follow a culture and follow something that is simple and that has a bunch of really, really, really smart, cool people who follow the game and who have very, very good, well-intentioned perspectives about the game itself. They don't make this game their entire life. They're not complete psychopaths about, making it all everything Fortnite all the time, because if Fortnite's not great, their life is over. No, they just play it because they love to play the game and it's fun. And with me not having the opportunity to do other outlets because other things are important right now in my life, seeing something like this, it allows for me to have that thing, right? We all got to have that thing. This allows me to have that thing. And it doesn't take up a lot of time. It doesn't take up a lot of money. There's enough going on to where it updates me on what's happening, like the culture of what's happening and what's the hot take, and is there a new perspective? Is there a new thing of learning about the culture, right? It's not necessarily the game itself. It's everything surrounding the game that I find absolutely fascinating. And as I've been following it and watching it and still learning and going through it over the last year, it really has taken up a big chunk of my freedom time. Not my time in life. My time in life, I got so much going on. But in regards to like my hobby time, this really does take up a lot of it. And it's amazing how over the last year, not a whole lot has changed in Fortnite. Like, sure, there's been big changes, but like they all happen so steadily that the game evolves within itself and that it's changing within itself. But I don't ever find it a bad thing, you know? And when my nephews decided to say, hey, you should play Fortnite, and I picked up the game and I said, I'll try it and I'll see what we can do. And here we are, you know? And I've got the characters that I like to play with. I've got, you know, the certain game types I like to play with, certain types of people who don't always like to be on the mic, but they just love to play and have fun. You find those random people, you friend them, you play with them, and before you know it, you're playing the game. You got quests you can play. It's just such a good overall grapple of something to do when there is really not a whole lot that you can go do with the way the world is right now, with how expensive things are, with the lack of time with having two kids and trying to afford living, and how dark a lot of things are in the world right now. Like Fortnite really does provide a light on top of all of that. And really, for me, it keeps that mentality and that attitude like positive and light. And don't get me wrong, like I don't have the greatest attitude at home. I don't have the greatest mentality at home all the time around my family, but it has helped tremendously. And especially over the last year, it's helped with my ability to escape and get away with anything because it is so entrenched in kind of what video games are today, but also kind of where the world is. I don't know. It's all encompassing, and it's for me. It works for me, and I really enjoyed it. And I'm really glad my nephews kind of brought it up and said, "Dude, you should play Fortnite. It's really good right now." And that was Chapter 5, Season 3. And yeah, I miss Chapter 5, Season 3 tremendously, but I do like the fact that the game changes often. Because again, you kind of got to just roll with the punches. It's much like life. You got to just roll with the punches, and you got to roll with what it is. What it is, right? So, anyway, I should get out of here. This has been a very long video of me just rambling about everything. But as somebody who's been playing the game for a year now, and as somebody who has been engaged in the game as much as I have, it's been a really, really good outlet for me. And I am so grateful to the fact that this has become an outlet for me to be able to express myself, get away from the daily things, and overall for it to be something that I could find joy in and a hobby in. I'm grateful for that aspect. So thanks again for watching. If you've watched it all the way to this point, then you're a trooper. Thanks again. Have a good one.